Welcome back to my channel, Trials and Vials. If you haven't watched my first video, or if you don't know what this channel is about, I want to provide some fragrance education, and I also want to give you guys affordable decants. If you like that premise, please like, comment, subscribe, help this channel grow. I'm going to put everything on my site as affordable as I can make it so you guys can benefit. The concern isn't profit margins with decants. The concern is to be able to afford the high volume orders that I need to make in order to provide the decants that are cheap for you guys. And I'm actually doing a great sale right now in God of Fire. So if you haven't checked it out, go to trialvials.com and please check it out. If you didn't check out my first YouTube video, I'm actually going to be doing tons of giveaways. I want to spread the love to the fragrance community and to people trying to get into fragrances. I don't think it should be something that is hard to get into or hard to enjoy, but I also don't believe in the rhetoric of blind buys or safe buys or anything like that, because olfactory senses are always subjective, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about olfactory senses. Our sense of smell, it might be something that either makes us feel pleasant or makes us feel relaxed or happy, excited, or it can cause headaches and make us feel sick to our stomachs. And I'm not talking about the actual disgusting smells. Things like leather are known to be headache inducing or people can't tolerate. And then there are fragrances like lavender that people might use to relax and de-stress. But before I get into that, and if you didn't check out my first YouTube video, I'm doing a giveaway on these two fragrances with some decants. Now this right here is All Hermanns Vintage Silver. And if you haven't smelled this, it supposedly is a twist of or inspiration of Cartier Pasha Noir. Okay? And it's a very interesting fragrance. It's a very bergamot, citron forward. And then it's a hint of green tea with a great, kind of woody dry down. But I haven't smelled Cartier de Pasha Noir, but I have smelled Creed Silver Mountain Water. If you like Creed Silver Mountain Water, but you can't get over that metallic-y, synthetic feel to it, then this possibly could be the fragrance for you. But get a decant, try it out, or if you want to not heed my advice and you just want to go into a blind buy, I believe these are available on Joma Shop. They're kind of cheap right now. So check it out, All Hermanns Vintage Silver. I'm sure you can probably find it elsewhere. And then we have here Mango Ice by Gulf Orchid. If you don't know this, it's probably the best overall cologne in terms of cost and closeness to God of Fire. And what I mean by that is this is only about $30 to $35 right now. It might blow up. Other YouTubers, other reviewers have talked about this. I did show it in my first video, and I'm going to be doing a giveaway of this. I honestly personally think it's phenomenal, but God of Fire and all of his clones might not be for you, because you might smell this and be like, hey, dude, this smells fruity and kind of feminine. And it does, but I personally like it. I like the mango vibe. I like the kind of fruity, slightly feminine leading unisex fragrance that this is. But if that's not you, and if you don't like that, then try out a decant. If you can find something cheaper, then by all means go. Go to Scentbox, Scentbird. I'm not going to discourage anyone, but I do hope to try and get people to enjoy all these clone fragrances and viral fragrances instead of blind buying and ending up with a billion bottles. So go watch my first YouTube video, like, comment, and subscribe in that video to enter to win these two clone giveaways. And, oh well, inspiration. I'm not sure really about this one, but go like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you want to see in my videos. I'm going to be doing more giveaways. The whole point of my, this channel, my whole aspect is to provide education, and it's to provide some insight on what you can do to layer fragrances, how to build your fragrance collection, how to build your olfactory senses, and a whole bunch of other fun stuff regarding fragrances. Not just limited to reviews. stay tuned for more content. Let's get into today's topic, which is olfactory senses. Now, I talked about all of that fun stuff, but you're probably wondering, why should you listen to me? Well, I've been a nurse for a number of years, and I've also had some breathing problems myself. And because of that, I've gained a lot of experience when it comes to treating the nose and kind of getting around my own hiccups and my own issues with breathing, and also ensuring the safety of others. Let's get into it. I'm going to get into how you can train your olfactory senses and what you'll need to do. Now, at the very rudimentary level, the very basic level, all you're going to need are some fragrance sticks and then some essential oils. And the essential oils you want to get, you want to make sure that they are just pure essential oils that don't have any kind of mix-ins or any kind of adulterations. And if you look at this, it just has lavender in it, and it might have the Latin name for the flower or the scent in question, whether it's frankincense or florals or whatever it is. And what you want to do is you want to obtain a small collection. Don't go too crazy. A small collection of some essential oils. You're going to want to get a citrus. You're going to want to get a floral. You're going to want to get a wood. You're going to want to get a spice. And you can get something like a vanilla or musk or amber, something that usually is in the base scents. You're probably wondering, how can you train your sense of smell to be better? And what does it mean to train your sense of smell? When you want to train your sense of smell, that means you might be able to discern the difference between lemon and lime, bergamot, orange, versus other citruses. And you'll be able to discern where it might fall in the note itself of a fragrance. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me explain what that means. Fragrances have three layers. They have the top note, which is usually most volatile, most reactive part of the fragrance. You have your citruses, your mints, things like rosemary that kind of react quickly. And those are in your top note. They'll go away quickly too. It doesn't mean they're dangerous when I say volatile, it just means they go away quick. The middle layer usually is what we smell when we inhale the fragrance later on. And this is the longer lasting, but not the longest lasting aspect of a fragrance. This might usually be our florals, sometimes it might be our woods. Then we have the base note. The base note will have some musk, some vanilla, amber, ambergris, ambroxan. Usually those are the components in the base. However, there might be times where you see items that are usually in the base, but in the top note, or in the base note, or vice versa. A citrus fragrance might have orange in the top note and the heart note, or the middle note it's called, for the sake of continuity. A fougere fragrance might have lavender in both the heart note and the base note, and it gives you that barbershop vibe that you might love. You're probably wondering where I'm going with this. Well, when you are getting these oils, you want to make sure that you're getting specific oils to train the specific areas of the fragrances. So I just showed you lavender earlier. So you want to get a floral like lavender, or white florals like jasmine, or you might want to get rose, whatever floral you want to start with. Don't go too crazy when you're purchasing these essential oils. The next, you want to get a citrus, okay? So here we have some orange. And then you're gonna want to get a spice. We have some clove here. You can go with cardamom, you can go with cinnamon. I do have some cinnamon lying around, but I'm not using that today because I'm indoors. That leads me to the first part of anything is, please make sure you're doing this in a well-ventilated area. Make sure you have a clean piece of cloth with you, or you have some kind of coffee bean or something to break up the scent and get you some fresh air, or you're by a window. Because some of these fragrances can be a little overwhelming, and cinnamon and some other spices might be like that. And you can also opt in for buying some wood as well. So cedar wood or sandalwood are a great place to start. Some people might mention guaiac wood or oud wood, but those essential oils can be quite pricey. And for what we're doing, we don't want to start at a high price point. We want to start at a lower price point and then build up upon our sense of smell and our olfactory senses. All right, let's get into how you can train your olfactory senses. You'll probably notice I have a little station here of things. Before I discuss them, let's talk about what goes into a fragrance. Now, you have the top note. The top note usually refers to things that are a little bit more reactive, or volatile is the word that is usually used. Do not be scared by it. Don't think that anything in a fragrance is dangerous unless there are an unsanctioned fragrance or you're buying off of some obscure Chinese website or something like that. You'll be fine when it comes to these volatile components. It just really means that these aromatic components want to react quickly, and they do. And they might go away a lot faster than something else, okay? Think of your citruses, your mints, and things along that nature. So you're going to smell them first, but then they're also going to go away first. It's first come and then first out the door. And then your middle notes, you're going to have something like your florals. You'll have lavender, rose, jasmine, your white florals, things like that. You usually find them in the middle note. And then you have your base note, which is the longest lasting part of a fragrance. These will be your vanilla, musk, amber, ambergris, things like that. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything needs to be in the order I stated. Sometimes you might have a citrus in both the top note and the middle note because the perfumer wanted continuity in the fragrance. Or it might be a Fougere fragrance and they're taking lavender and putting it in the middle note and the base note. And that gives you that barbershop kind of feel. It all depends on what the perfumer is going for and what the fragrance family is and what type of fragrance it is. But those are the general aspects of what goes into a fragrance. I'm going to be going into the essential oils, actually, which are the tiny notes that are found in the layers. Meaning a lavender note might also be with a amber note in the middle or heart note, for instance. The top note might be orange and a white floral, but we're going to break it down even further where you're going to smell just the orange, you're going to smell just the lavender, you're going to smell just the rose. I don't want you to get ahead of yourself. Before anything, please make sure you're practicing everything I'm going to teach you safely. Make sure you're in a well-ventilated area, make sure you have a clean cloth, make sure you have access to fresh air, and make sure you're hydrated. Because some of these fragrances can be overwhelming and they might lead you to having an adverse reaction. So please be careful. And if you have any kind of issues, side effects, your skin is red, or if you have any kind of breathing issue, please seek medical attention if it goes unresolved, okay? Or if your shortness of breath is unresolved and you're rested and you're not moving, please seek immediate medical attention, all right? As a nurse and being in healthcare for a long time and having sinus issues myself, I want to put you on to some interesting aspects of being able to actually absorb and smell a fragrance better. Before I go on to how to use the essential oils and what we're going to do with them, let's go into some things you can use to protect yourself or make sure your sense of smell is as optimal as it can be. So the first is some saline spray. With saline spray, we're just going to clean out our nares. So that just means all of the dirt and debris that we have in our nose and our lower nasal area is cleaned out. And that can benefit us because we might have potential allergens, or we might just have other fragrances or something else musty and nasty we might have smelled somewhere else, might be caught in our mucosa that's dried up and now it's sticking there. So this can help kind of clear that out. But if you're saying, hey, I've tried that, but I still have things lingering in, you might have clogged sinuses, or you might have something called postnasal drip, which means your sinuses are so clogged and backed up that your sense of smell is getting dampened because of the mucus that's dripping down into the back of your throat. If that's not sufficient for you, and you say, hey, my sense of smell is still not that great despite everything I do, you might have something like postnasal drip or something like sinusitis. If you don't have any issues going on and you haven't been told by a doctor to avoid doing the following, you can go ahead to your local CVS and you can get, or Walgreens or any kind of drugstore, you can get one of these. It's a nasal rinse bottle. And essentially what this is this is something you're going to put into your nose. You're going to fill this with water, preferably distilled water, and then it has a pre-mixed salt packet. Please use a pre-mixed salt packet. Don't try to mix it on your own. These are mixed to optimally match the salinity or the salt content of our mucus. You don't want to go too much more than that or too little than that because you could risk issues with your breathing. So please do not do that. And you want to use distilled water or boil some water and cool it down to avoid any kind of possible infections, okay? So practice it safely. And if you're worried about it or think it's a little bit too much, please avoid this. But the benefit of this is you're going to clean out your upper sinuses right here, called your ethmoid sinuses. So if you clean out your ethmoid sinuses, that's going to help you breathe a little bit better. You also have sinuses right here, your maxillary sinuses. And if you want to clean that out, you can use something like a neti pot if you've seen those online, but those might require you to have a weird position of your head, and you're going to be tipping water, and it's going to feel weird. And so will this, all right? When you spray this, you're going to be spraying it, and you're going to keep your mouth open, and make sure you're following all the directions on the packet and in the instructions. The last little thing I'm going to mention, because we're in summer and pollen this year is super heavy, is avoiding allergies or reducing the effects of allergies. And that's going to be with this right here. All this is over-the-counter Flonase. If you've used Flonase before, or Nasonex, or doctors recommended for you to use it, and you don't have any issues or allergies to this medication, then please go ahead and pick some up at your local CVS, Walgreens, Wayne Reed, Rite Aid, whatever pharmacy you have nearby. The benefit of this is it's a inhaled glucocorticoid. I mean, it's going to reduce the inflammation in our nose and our sinuses. This is essentially just a generic version of the medication Flonase. You can get other generic versions, I believe. There's medications like Nasacort and the generic versions of that as well, and some other medications that are inhaled glucocorticoids, which means it just reduces inflammation. A lot of people get these medications, but they don't use them wrong. I've had to educate a lot of my patients on how to properly use this. You're probably thinking, how hard could it be? You just put it in your nose, squeeze, squeeze, that's it, and we're done. You're wrong. So when you use these medications, you actually should not be putting it directly up and spraying. You should actually be putting it directly up, and then you want to point it out towards your ears and then spray. And you want to do the same with each nostril. So you're going to go into your left ear, point it towards your left ear, and then spray 2 to 3 times as per manufacturing directions. And then you're going to want to leave it for about 20 minutes or so. You're probably wondering, why do I have to do this whole weird thing of pointing towards my ears? It's because this medication over long-term use can actually lead to the degradation of our septum. Avoid having that issue like I have. I have a small hole in my septum because my doctors didn't educate me on how to use this medication. So I'm telling you now how to use this properly if you've been recommended. If you haven't, or you don't have allergies, you don't need to reach for this, okay? But if you do and you are going to use it, as I stated, wait 15 to 20 minutes after using this, because it does have its own smell. So before we do our next step, finally getting into the meat and potatoes of this video. I went over the essential oils, the aspect of it, but we want to get a collection of essential oils. We want to get a floral, so you can get lavender, rose, jasmine, whichever you prefer. You want to get a citrus, so lemon, orange, bergamot, whichever you prefer. And start with one each. And then you're going to want to get a wood. So sandalwood and cedarwood are great starting points. Try not to go for guaiac wood or oud wood. Sure, they're fun and they smell great for a lot of people, but they're also quite pricey. And we're not focused on pricey. We're not focused on trying to get the most amazing sense of smell. We just want to start small and grow up, up, up until we get the overall decent sense of smell to identify most fragrance components. If you want to eventually grow to get oud wood, you can. You can take these steps that I'm going to teach you and grow and get an entire vast collection of essential oils to smell and to develop your sense of smell like the professionals do, okay? And then you're going to want to get a spice, okay? So you can get clove, cardamom, or cinnamon. Today we're dealing with clove, and we're going to deal with orange, okay? Now, you could opt to get something like vanilla, musk, or amber. Those are really in your base notes, but those are very pungent, and those are, I mean, if you haven't smelled vanilla and you don't want to know what it smells like, then I don't know what to tell you, but these are going to be the usual components you start with, and you want only 2 to 3 essential oils at a time. You can have that collection of 6, 7 to start with. So every time you do this, you only want to use 2 to 3 at a time. Don't go with a lot, because you can get overwhelmed. And this goes back to the point of safety, where you want to practice in a well-ventilated area or close to the outdoors where you're next to fresh air. Here we have lavender on a fragrance stick, okay? You can get these off Amazon, or you can just go to your local Macy's or department store and just scoop a couple in your pocket. You're gonna want to put these essential oils onto the fragrance stick, and then you want to take it and take a deep breath in, okay? And you're gonna want to do this for 20 to 30 seconds. After doing this, you should write down the aspects of that fragrance note. You're gonna want to do the same with the orange. And if you notice, this is slightly tinted orange because of the essential oil and how pure it is. And you're gonna want to repeat this with all of our essential oils. With something like clove or a spice like cinnamon, you do want to make sure that you're either accustomed to it or you're in an open area. I have cinnamon myself, but I opted to not use it or even open it for this video because it's a very pungent. The smallest drop will make an entire room smell like cinnamon, and it gets a little overwhelming. So just please make sure you're practicing with safety. But after smelling each note, you're going to want to write down what you feel after the 20 to 30 second max of inhaling. So you want to repeat this with every single fragrance note you have, all these essential oils you've built up. When you do this, you can then go on to maybe get something that is a fragrance with limited notes that can help you practice that sense of smell. You probably notice I have this tiny little bottle. Now, this is a little bottle of a Turkish fragrance that's used in warm weather to cool people off, and sometimes it's used for some other customs in Turkey. However, this is a very simple fragrance. It's just some mandarin, some orange, and aldehydes, and I believe there's musk in the base. And that's the purpose of this stuff. This is just orange, aldehydes, and musk. It's a very light fragrance. It's not heavy with perfume oils, so it's actually a little bit safer than the essential oils we're dealing with. But the benefit of doing this and getting something like this, and you don't have to get something like this in particular, but try to find a fragrance that's built up upon one or two notes. You can aim for molecule 1 or a clone or dupe of it that is just ISO E Super, and practice smelling ISO E Super. And that's going to help you identify then what's in a fragrance. And once you do that, when you smell a fragrance, you'll be able to identify what's in it. And then you can do the same with these smaller fragrances that have less components in them. And then you can identify the components by writing it down and then taking your notes and comparing it to what's actually in the fragrance as per professionals. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you'd like to see next. Do you want to see more review videos? Do you want to see more fragrance education videos like today? Or do you want me to spit out content about how to layer fragrances properly? Let me know. All right, guys. Spend better, spray smart. See you next time.